we've got another more serious issue to talk about, and this having to do with UNC and an effort on the part of our guest to establish a course in basically civics, the civics of America, the civic foundations. And with that, we have joining us James Broggi with us. James, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to get you a little closer to that.
Yeah, good afternoon. Great to see you, Lockwood.
And thanks for taking the time to be here. This is the second time you've been in the studio.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's talk about your legislation or your proposal.
All right, yeah, so the recap is the REACH Act is a proposal to bill in the state legislature that, if passed, would require all college students in the UNC system and the community college system to take a 3-credit-hour class on American government, which would require them to study the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the Federalist Papers. So that's what the bill is. It's already passed the State House of Representatives. It's in the Senate. And what we're going to talk about today is the uncovered emails I found through a public records request about UNC's efforts to oppose it.
So you were successful in a FOIA request.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Let's also make note of the fact that our guest is an attorney. He is he's an attorney in the Marine Corps, and I want to say JAG, but you're not JAG, right?
That's right.
I get a little confused. Even though you are a Department of the Navy, your process in the Marine Corps is what? How are you?
That's right. They just call us judge advocates because we're not in the JAG Corps. We're just in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
We're just Marine officers.
Okay. I have to put up with them all the time. But anyhow, all right. So you're an attorney. You sought documentation. Let's start with why. What precipitated this effort?
Well, we saw from a lot of the recent surveys that college graduates know very little bit about our country.
Okay.
For example, a recent survey showed that among college graduates, 10% thought Judge Judy was on the U.S. Supreme Court. And a third of Americans couldn't name a single right in the First Amendment, which includes the freedom of speech, what we're doing right now. And so, you were just talking about Reagan even a minute ago, right? What did he say? He said, to continue to be free, we have to pass on our freedom to each generation.
Right.
Freedom is not born in the bloodstream. So where are our principles of freedom in our country? Well, they're in our founding documents, in the U.S. Constitution, Declaration of Independence. And yes, and some college graduates think Judge Judy's on the Supreme Court. So that's the crisis in civics education we have right now.
That's criminal. That is criminal.
But what's the problem?
But that says a lot also, sadly, about our primary education, too.
That's right, yes. Oh, absolutely. What's happening even before that, right?
It does. But so your effort is to assure that future leaders in this country, we're making an assumption.
That's right.
The college leaders are.
Maybe that's a contradiction, right? The college students, right?
Yeah. It's not necessarily fair. There are a lot of people out there who are leaders who are not necessarily carrying or holding a sheepskin on the wall or something of that nature.
Yes. So we see an intentional gap in the UNC system. Yes. Not a single public college in the UNC system requires American government. But you know what they do require? Global understanding, power, difference, and equality. Those are required classes.
Diversity, equity, and
but no required class in American government. So that's the point of the bill, to correct that.
All right, it's called the Correct Act.
Yeah, or the REACH Act.
REACH Act. I'm sorry, REACH Act. Oh, by the way, the acronym for that.
The Reclaiming College Education on America's Constitutional Heritage.
Okay, and by the way, I've got to make note. You are, of course, originally from South Carolina.
That's right.
And you worked on this very same legislation in that state as well, correct?
That's right. Yeah, there's actually 8 states in the country that have similar laws, and I helped write the one that was in South Carolina. And in South Carolina, we're going to talk about how right now in North Carolina, this is very hot button. It's very controversial. In South Carolina, this passed the state Senate 45-0, and the House of Representatives 91-12. Here in North Carolina, 700 Chapel Hill professors signed a petition against it.
Okay. Now, you decided to seek a FOIA request on emails. Why?
Okay, so the bill passed the House of Representatives. It flew through the House. That's amazing, right? Because this isn't controversial to ensure college students understand American government. Mm-hmm. However, it seemed to slow down in the Senate, and I was wondering, what is going on? So I filed a FOIA request, a state public records request, and I asked for all the emails from the quote, legislative liaisons, or as they act like lobbyists from the UNC system. And I found out from the emails that I uncovered that we'll talk about that the University of North Carolina right now is spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in staff salaries to fight this bill from becoming law, where they mocked legislators and they mocked patriotisms, where they called this bill a wrap yourself in American type flag type bill.
Why? What's wrong with wrapping yourself in the American flag?
Well, just a couple days ago, we celebrated Memorial Day for people who died defending the Constitution.
And the flag.
And they called it a wrap yourself in the American flag type bill. That was by Bart Goodson, the vice president of government relations at UNC System. He also called it red meat theater. I don't think our country and our freedoms are theater. I think our Constitution is very important, and to pass our freedoms on, people have got to know this.
You know, this is particularly galling for you, being a volunteer member of the Marine Corps.
That's right. And this is something I just worked on my own. Like, every time I've gone up to the legislature, I've taken a personal day off from work because it's not what I do. And that's how important I thought this was. And we also saw that even the president of the UNC system, we uncovered this in the emails. And if you would like to read these emails, by the way, if you go to Carolina Journal, right on the front page right now, you can read an article about these uncovered emails that you can link to, and you can read them all yourselves. And we learned even the president of the University of North Carolina system, Peter Hans, he was in on it too. And he said, the legislature is off the mark. We have to work around this to stop this bill. That's in his own words in his email to his government relations team. Here I am taking a day off from work to go work on this, and his salary is $424,000 a year, trying to kill this bill for students to not learn the U.S. Constitution.
We're talking to James Broggi, and that's Broggi, by the way, who is here in the studio, and has led, I'll say authored.
Helped write it,
a bill
that's right.
That would, in fact, require all of the, I think it's 17 campuses of the university system and the community colleges.
Right, that's right.
All graduates have to conclude a 3-hour course, a standard course in American civics, American history, American, basically American civics.
That's right. And again, what we've learned in these emails are just incredible of what lengths they've got. We saw that at one point they tried to meet with the chairman of the House Education Committee, who said, no, I think this is a great bill. And then they said in their emails, after they failed, the lower level lobbyist, Austin Newell, emails the president, says, will you meet with him? And Bart Goodson replies, the president is on it. He'll meet with him to turn him around. That's the quote. We're going to turn him around. Another quote is, we're going to knock this down with gentle conversations. Knock what down? This required class in the Constitution, because they don't want students to be required to take a class on American government.
All right. Since you've uncovered these documents, have you been to Raleigh?
I have.
And what was the response?
It was very negative. The fact that they told some of these legislators, we're not against this. Then we also uncovered in some of the emails that they then went to the Democrats and said, let's kill this. We found where one lobbyist for the UNC Chapel Hill, Amy McConkey, prepared talking points for Representative Ashley Clemens to try to kill it in committee. And you know what happened? The House of Representatives passed it anyway. So Bart Goodson then emails the president, we'll try to slow it down on the Senate side. And that's what they're doing. They're just trying to hopefully, what was nonpartisan, this is not partisan. What did this pass in South Carolina? 45-0. They're trying to make it partisan. And I don't think our founding documents should be made partisan in, quote, red meat theater, in their words.
We're talking with James Broggi here on Viewpoints. We'll take a quick break. We've got more to talk about. What I wanted to come back with, James, after we finish this news break, is what next? What can we do to move this forward? Stay tuned for more here on Viewpoints. James Broggi is here in the studio with us, and we're talking about an effort on his part to establish a single 3-hour course in American civics, basically the founding documents for America, those evil documents that have given us freedom and improved our lives of not only people in this country, but around the world. And by the way, our guest is a Marine. So thank you very much, James, for staying around. Let's talk about the emails that you discovered. They were aimed at the members of the legislature.
That's right. So we found that through these uncovered public records emails, that the UNC staff was fighting a bill to prevent college students from being required to learn about American government or founding documents. But in addition to mocking state legislators, they were mocking their own bosses. These are bureaucrats who are fighting the real elected leadership. Now, let's just give a frame of reference so people understand. By state law, There is a board of governors that governs the University of North Carolina system, that governs all 17 public colleges. The chairman of that board is right here in our county. He's our neighbor, Randy Ramsey. I love Randy, right?
Yeah.
We found in one of the uncovered emails where Bart Goodson, the vice president of government relations, one of the, quote, legislative liaisons who's acting as a lobbyist for very nefarious interests, emails his president, Peter Hans, and says, hey, I just found out that Randy Ramsey is, quote, all in for the bill. What was Randy for? He was all in for people learning about the Constitution. He goes, and the president says, we're going to have to alter our approach to stop the bill if Randy's all in for it. Now think about that for a second. The Board of Governors, they are the legitimate elected leaders, elected by the legislature to govern our public colleges that the citizens created through their legislature. Yet you have the staff undermining the actual policy goals of the elected leaders. If we have a system of self-government, imagine electing people to your county commission for the president or whatever office it is, the person you voted for, then the people who never leave there, the staff, just say, hey, I'm going to do the exact opposite of what you want me to do. And that's what we saw in these revealed public records that I've posted online that you can read for yourselves in their own context.
All right. And by the way, to read those, go to carolinajournal.com. We talk with the folks at the John Locke Foundation on a regular basis. carolinajournal.com. And if you'll go down to the bottom of the page, you'll see James Broggi. I'm going to go back here one panel. Let me just see if I got this right here. It will show you the Carolina Journal. And if you will go to the bottom of the page, you'll see several articles, one of them being, by the way, that Mandy Cohen is being selected to lead the CDC. That's an interesting story. But if you go down to the bottom, it shows the word opinion, and you'll see in the center James Broggi, our guest this afternoon here at the studio, and the emails. And if you tap on that, on that portion of the web, it'll come to the emails show UNC lobbying against bill to teach founding documents. And then if you will, the first blued or highlighted
hyperlink
word in there, and it will take you right to several versions of two different.
They provide it in two different docs. So again, I really think the public should be able to see these things for themselves. So in the article, the first thing I did was hyperlink to every single document I got.
Okay.
We've been talking about the documents. These emails, I want people to be able to see them for themselves, so I upload it, and you can read it all for yourself and say, did he summarize it correctly, and go look at it for yourself.
We've got a little more than a minute left. All right, James, what next? What should our audience do? What are you suggesting?
Well, I sure hope the Senate, the state Senate passes it. That's my goal, my hope. Again, I love our country.
The governor will put veto in.
Well, we'll see what happens if depending on what the ratios are in the legislature. We'll find out. But I love our country. I'm so grateful to be an American and the freedoms we have. But to preserve our freedom, people have got to know our first freedoms.
It is stunning that anybody who is charged with wrapping themselves in the flag is felt to be dismissed or criticized or in some way made fun of. It's a good thing. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with being patriotic?
There's nothing wrong with loving your country to preserve our freedom. And I think it's a shame that the UNC staff, who's getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, for example, Bart Goodson, his salary is $305,000 a year, and our tax dollars are going to fund someone who's going to fight against students learning about our Constitution in a required class. I think that's a shame. I hope we solve it and win. But I love our country, and I hope we win. And UNC system staff, I hope they lose.
Well, I congratulate you on the success of getting results from your FOIA request, because we have so many instances where basically the organizations that are from which they're seeking the records stonewall the request for months, even years.
Well, I'm so grateful the support we have here just in our town. I love being a citizen of Morehead. I'm so grateful for our state senator, Norman Sanderson, our representative, Celeste Cairns. They've been awesome champions for this. Representative Cairns, she helped us get out of the House, and I hope we win soon.
All right. I want to thank our guest, James Broggi. We'll be following you with a great deal of interest. And since he's living right here in the county, we're going to get him back on. Great job. Congratulations on this, James.
Yeah, thanks, Lockwood. This is fun.